uh, Virgo, nervous. That is the word they keep returning to in the private hours, in the specific quality of the thinking that precedes the action that has not yet happened. Nervous in the way that only matters when something genuinely matters. In the way that tells you the stakes are real, because nervousness does not arrive for things that do not carry consequence. It arrives precisely when what is about to be said or done could change something. When the speaking could open a door or close one. When the truth that has been living in the interior is finally approaching the moment of its exterior, and the approach itself is producing the specific physical, I cannot quite settle quality of someone standing at the edge of something they cannot take back once they step off it. They are standing at that edge, Virgo. Right now, and the nervousness is the evidence of how much it matters that they get this right. Take what is yours today, Virgo. What resonates, let it reach the part of you that has perhaps been sensing something building without being able to name exactly what. What does not, release it gently. But for those of you who felt something tighten in the chest, in the specific place where significant things register before the mind has caught up, this reading is carrying exactly what that tightening was trying to tell you. Let me speak about the nervousness first, because it deserves its own attention, not as a symptom of something to be overcome, but as information, as the most honest signal available about the quality of what is approaching, about the size of what is being prepared to be said, about the specific seriousness with which this person is approaching the truth that they have been carrying toward you carefully with both hands, like something that could break if handled without sufficient care. Soft sigh. The truth is this, and Spirit is pressing it forward before everything else, because it is the center of everything else. They want to be with you, not in the provisional, let us see how this develops sense that keeps both people at the comfortable distance of the uncommitted. In the specific, decided, I have sat with this long enough to know it is true sense of someone who has arrived through whatever private process of deliberation and honesty and the slow, unglamorous work of understanding their own heart at a conclusion that they can no longer, in good conscience, withhold. They want to be with you. And the nervousness is the cost of knowing that saying so changes things permanently, irreversibly, in the specific way that genuine declarations change the space between two people. Once it is said, it cannot be unsaid. Once the truth is in the open, it cannot be returned to the privacy of the interior, where it has been living safely without the risk of the response. And it is that the specific and entirely human fear of the response that is producing the nervous quality I feel in their energy today. Not fear of you. That distinction matters, and Spirit is insistent about it. The nervousness is not about who you are, not a hesitation produced by uncertainty about you or about the feeling. The feeling is certain, the wanting is certain. What is uncertain, what is producing the edge of the cliff quality of someone who has decided and is now gathering the specific courage that acting on the decision requires, is whether the wanting will be received, whether the truth, once offered, will find the warmth it is hoping for, whether the door, when they arrive at it, will be open. Now hear them, because this voice has been rehearsed in the private hours enough times that it deserves to find its way to you even before the formal version arrives. I am nervous to come tell you the truth. I want to be honest about that before I am honest about anything else, because pretending I am not nervous would be its own kind of dishonesty, and I have had enough of managing what I show you. The nervousness is real. The wanting is real. And the fact that I am nervous about telling you the wanting is itself evidence of how much the wanting matters. You do not get nervous about things that do not matter. I am nervous because this matters, because you matter, in the specific way that I have not been fully honest about for reasons that made sense at the time and make considerably less sense now. I want to be with you. Not because the timing is perfect, it is not. Not because I have resolved every question and cleared every obstacle and arrived at the moment of declaration with my affairs completely in order. I have not. But I am done waiting for the perfect conditions to say the true thing. Because the true thing has been true for a while now, through the conditions that were not perfect, and through the moments when saying it would have been easier and I did not, and through the time I spent telling myself it was not yet the right moment, when what was actually happening was that I was not yet ready to be this vulnerable. Uh, I am ready now. Or I am as ready as I am going to be, which is different from ready in the comfortable, all my fears resolved sense, and closer to ready in the I cannot justify another day of not saying this sense. The not saying has been costing more than the saying would. And I am done paying that cost when the alternative, the actual, honest, this is what I want alternative, is available. Even if it is terrifying, even if you do not feel the same, even if this changes things in a direction I was not hoping for, the truth deserves to be in the open between us. And the truth is, I want to be with you. Soft sigh, but there is a but. And I want to speak about it directly because the title of this reading carries it, and ignoring it would be the kind of incomplete honesty that does a disservice to everyone. The but is not a diminishment of the wanting, is not the qualification that reveals the declaration to be smaller than it appeared. The but is something else, something that spirit is showing me as present in this person's energy alongside the wanting, not in opposition to it, but in honest coexistence with it. A fear, a specific, located, I need to name this honestly, fear that has been part of why the declaration has taken as long as it has. Not the fear of vulnerability alone, though that is present. A deeper one. The fear of not being enough. For you specifically, for the specific and irreplaceable high standard, nothing escapes the assessment quality of Virgo that this person has been in proximity to long enough to understand with considerable accuracy. They know what you require, not in the demanding sense, in the honest sense. They know the quality of care and attention and genuine showing up that a real relationship with you would demand. And the but is the honest acknowledgement that they are not certain yet that they can consistently meet that standard. Not because the wanting is insufficient, because the self knowledge is honest, because this person has looked at themselves clearly enough to know where their growing edges are, where the showing up will require more than it currently has, and is nervous not just about whether you want them, but about whether who they are is going to be adequate to what wanting you actually requires. That honesty, the specific, self aware, I know where I am still growing quality of someone who wants you and is honest about their own limitations simultaneously is perhaps the most significant thing in this reading. Because it tells you something about who this person is that the wanting alone cannot tell you. It tells you they are capable of the specific kind of honesty that genuine relationship requires. The kind that does not pretend to be more complete than it is, that arrives without the inflated presentation of someone performing readiness they do not actually have, that says, I want this and I know where I need to grow, and I am willing to do both simultaneously rather than waiting until the growing is complete before allowing the wanting to be spoken. Now, I want to speak to you, Virgo, to the specific quality of response that this declaration, when it arrives, in whatever form it finally takes, deserves from your sign. Do not make them earn the reception before the declaration is complete. That is the specific and important instruction. Because Virgo, in the most loving and most honest characterization of your sign's relationship with declarations of this kind, can sometimes produce a quality of reception that is more assessment than welcome. That is listening for the flaw in the architecture of what is being offered while the offering is still happening. That holds the warmth at a measured distance while the evaluation determines whether the warmth is warranted. The warmth is warranted. Spirit is pressing that today with an insistence that I want to honor by delivering it clearly. What is coming toward you carries the specific quality of something that has been tested in the interior, not performed, not constructed for effect, not calibrated to produce a specific response in you. It has been lived with, sat with in the honest hours, questioned and found to be still present after the questioning. That is the evidence that matters. And it is evidence that the Virgo assessment, if it is allowed to operate from its best rather than its most defensive place, will recognize as real. Soft sigh. Receive it, Virgo. With the specific, grounded, I know my own worth warmth of someone who has been waiting, not desperately, not from the contracted place of someone who needs this to be true, but genuinely, who has been holding space for something real without requiring it to arrive on a particular timeline or in a particular form, and who is now in the presence of something real approaching, willing to meet it with the full quality of their own genuine response rather than the managed, protective, not yet version. What is your genuine response? Not what you think it should be. What it actually is, in the honest, undefended 3 in the morning quality of your own interior. What does it produce in you to know that someone is nervous to come tell you the truth? That the truth is they want to be with you. That the but is not a withdrawal, but an honest acknowledgement of where they still need to grow. What does all of that produce in the place below the assessment? That place knows. It has always known. And what this reading is asking gently, with the full awareness that asking Virgo to trust the pre analytical place is asking something genuinely difficult, is that you let that knowing speak first. Before the assessment, before the evaluation of the structural integrity of what is being offered, before the Virgo process that is both your greatest gift and, in this specific moment, the thing most capable of standing between you and something genuinely worth having. Let the knowing speak first. It has earned that through everything you have been through every season that tested whether it was reliable, through every moment when you overrode it and wished afterward that you had not. The knowing is reliable. It was always reliable. And what it is telling you right now before the declaration arrives in the specific and slightly breathless space between the approaching and the arrived is worth listening to. Something nervous is coming toward you, carrying the truth that it has been holding for too long. With the honest, but that does not diminish the wanting, but sits alongside it in the transparent, self aware way of someone who respects you enough to bring their whole truth rather than the edited version. Meet it, Virgo, from your whole truth, with the full, warm, nothing withheld quality of someone who knows their worth and is finally, after everything, willing to let someone who also knows their worth come close enough to show it. If this reading found you today, if something here named what is approaching and gave you the solid ground to stand on when it arrives, stay close. Subscribe and come back, because the story of what happens when someone finally arrives with their honest truth, nervous and wanting and transparent about the but, is one worth witnessing all the way through. And the next reading will be there for every vulnerable, real, completely human step of what follows.